It's been over a year since I introduced boops to the game, and they still don't really have a purpose or very deep gameplay mechanics. It's time to fix that. Boops were originally meant to give the player a break from sometimes intense and frustrating platforming segments to raise some chill virtual creatures. The first hurdle I see in making the boop world more fun is that it's hard to remember which boop is which at the moment. Because you have to pick them up to examine their names and stats, if you aren't paying close attention, you'll probably forget all your boop's names after a while. It also got annoying having to pick up your boop to see if they're hungry. After all, they're pets and they should be telling you when they're hungry. So to fix this, I decided that boop's valuable information needs to be visible to the player at all times. Since I've been using diegetic UI elements for things like input prompts, it seemed natural to try and give each boop their own world space UI panel floating above their head. I removed the big boop info panel from the UI, which already makes the UI a good bit cleaner, and made smaller versions that float above every boop's head. And having boop's valuable information over their head allows the player to see boop's stats updating in real time. To facilitate that further, I made a smooth slider script that lerps the stat slider to its new value to give the player a bit more time to notice and process the change. This small change already increased the player's sense of agency since they can decide to feed a boop, figure out how to do it, and receive that visual feedback of the boop eating and their hunger bar sliding up in front of their eyes. I also decided it was time to add new randomized boop names. Since boop styles are tied directly to their names, and right now I only have a pool of about 15 random names to choose from, I decided it was time to give boops more random and diverse names. My immediate thought was to assemble their names by stringing together syllables that I feed it. I made a long array of a bunch of short strings, usually following a consonant-vowel structure, and programmed the name generator to choose between 1 and 3 random syllables to string together and capitalize the first letter of. This works super well, and I've managed to get some funny, memorable, and plausible pet names for your boops. Just for fun, there's a 10% chance that a boop will get one of the old preset names too. To add even more depth to the boop world, as well as give the players some more agency, I decided to add the ability for any two boops to breed and produce an egg that shares some of the physical characteristics of their parents. The simplest way I thought of adding this was Minecraft style, where feeding your boops puts them into a mating state for a few seconds. Any two boops in the mating state at the same time will find each other and produce an egg. I still need to work out the genetic rules for how they'll inherit patterns and colors, but that should be simple enough. This mechanic, in combination with the flower pot, gives the player a way to consistently get new boops and food for them in the boop world alone. After trying a couple different methods, I ended up programming it so the child inherits each trait from either parent A or B randomly. So they'll get the pattern of parent A or parent B, they'll get the color of parent A or parent B, and same with secondary and eye color. Since it was just Halloween and I don't have anything related to the fall season in the game, I thought I should add a pumpkin collectible. So I modeled it up in Blender by kind of suggesting a sphere into the shape of a pumpkin and adding a stem. If you can't tell, I don't have the best modeling intuition, but this is good enough. Last week, I also had my parents record some sound effects for Elephant and the Big Boop just for fun. They came out great and were distinct enough from each other that you can tell who's talking based on their voice. They were super excited to tell their friends that they voiced video game characters, which was a lot of fun. This was also a pretty random thing, but I stumbled across a nice shader graph tutorial for making an Aurora Borealis effect and thought it would look pretty nice on the Snowdrift map. I added a couple Aurora planes way up in the sky, darkened the skybox a little bit, and I think improved the atmosphere of this level quite a bit, especially since it's concentrated on climbing up where the player will be looking a lot. And final section, the new ability, Boop Tech Camera Drone. Back when I was prepping for Steam Next Fest, I implemented this neat little camera I made and had an idea to make it a drone that Bun can throw out and remote control in first person to sort of fly around and scope out levels. Originally, it was just so I could take promotional screenshots from more interesting angles, which worked out well, but since I have it in-game now, I might as well take it a step further and turn it into an actual unlockable ability. Basically now, I have to see how I set up the other two abilities and repeat that, adding some scripts along the way to make everything work. Then I have to decide if this is going to be a buyable ability in a shop somewhere, unlockable, a secret hidden ability, or whatever. So as you can see in the bottom left, we now have a new camera icon that shows the camera ability. I had Elephant set up shop secretly in one of the levels where she sells this camera for 1,000 gems. Once you get it and use the ability, I reused the logic for handing Bun a flower pot, to spawn a camera drone in their hand. Throw that and it starts flying, with the camera transferring into the drone and giving the player control over the look, direction, and movement of the drone. Now you can fly around levels and see everything from a different angle, which is useful in finding secrets and planning out your path. Hit the return button at any time to destroy the drone and return to Bung. I'm still debating if I'm going to put a range limit on the drone that sort of loses connection as you get too far, but right now it seems like that might just dampen the fun and usefulness of an expensive ability. And I think that's where I'm going to end it for this devlog. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Love you guys, peace!